Hello and welcome to Tête à Tête, France 24's flagship interview show. Our guest this week is Fuad Hussein. He is Iraq's Vice Prime Minister and also its Minister of Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I want your reaction to Donald Trump's Gaza plan. We know he wants America to own Gaza. He wants the inhabitants of Gaza to move elsewhere, Jordan, Egypt, or even beyond. Is this acceptable in your eyes?
Anyhow, we are with the right of self-determination of the Palestinian people. And that means the Palestinian people will choose their future and their rights. So to displace them, to transfer the Palestinian people from their own land to somewhere else, I think is not acceptable in the first place for Palestinian people themselves and for Palestinian leaders themselves. And as we are supporting Palestinian cause and Palestinian leadership, so we are with them in their decision, with the Palestinian people.
There's supposed to be an emergency meeting on this very issue at the end of the month called by Egypt. Is it important now, more than ever, for Arab countries to come together with a common stance on this issue?
There will be a summit meeting, in fact, in Egypt on 27th. Indeed, the meeting has been asked by the Egyptian side, and I think there will be a collective, common stand from the Arab summit, Arab leaders.
Do you think there is a risk of a so-called second Napka with what Trump is planning in Gaza, what Israel might be doing in the West Bank, and that this might not just be Trump saying things, but an actual plan?
There is, historically, if we go back in 1948, when the Palestinian has been dismissed also from their land and Palestinian question became a refugee question. Nowadays, I think if this plan will be implemented, once again, it will change the whole character of Palestinian movement and Palestinian question from a political question into a refugee question. If people will be dismissed from their own country, their own land, then they will be refugees. Then that means it will be a refugee problem and a refugee question. And that's very much dangerous for the whole area, not only for Palestinian people.
I want to turn to Syria. First question, concrete questions. We know that Iraq has not recognized the new de facto leadership in Syria. Will you do so? And will there be a visit maybe by you to Syria or by the de facto foreign minister to Baghdad?
We are in good discussion with the new administration in Damascus. And we were from the beginning in contact with the leaders, the new leaders in Damascus. And I was in contact with my colleague, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. I met him twice in various capitals. But I am going to invite him to Baghdad on 20th of February. So he will visit us in Baghdad. And we will continue our discussion with Syrian leaders in this case.
Right. There is supposed to be an Arab League summit this time in Baghdad in May. Are you going to invite the Syrian leadership, not only the foreign minister, but the leader, Ahmed al-Shara?
In May, there will be the Arab League summit, indeed, in Baghdad. And we are going to invite all Arab leaders.
Including him?
Of course. Then it's up to him if he is coming on.
Right. There's only one problem with him with regards to Iraq. He acknowledged that he was fighting in Iraq for Al-Qaeda in Iraq. And as a result, there is an arrest warrant against him in Iraq. So how do you reconcile inviting him and the arrest warrant against him?
I don't know about the arrest warrants, but I know that he was indeed fighting in Iraq, and he was in prison in Iraq, that's true.
Right, but isn't it a problem if there is an arrest warrant against him?
I don't know if there is an arrest warrant, but anyhow, as for the summit, we are going to invite all Arab leaders.
I know that in Iraq, there are concerns about this new leadership because of what it did in the past. Are you concerned that in Syria, there could be terrorists, Daesh or other groups that could threaten Iraq? We know the issue of ISIS is still there in Iraq. Do you think these events in Syria could make this threat even bigger?
In our discussion with the leaders in Damascus, and we will continue this discussion with other leaders in the region about the activities of ISIS in Syria, inside Syria, because it is a fact that there are ISIS terrorists on the border, on the other side of the border, inside Syria, and they are very much active nowadays. And
are they trying to move into Iraq?
They are moving all the time, but of course we close the border, and our army and our security forces are protecting the border. But anyhow, the threat is there because ISIS is not only a threat for Iraq, but because of the fact that they are on the border, so they can be a threat for Iraq, but they will be a threat for the region and also for Syria. So that's why we need to discuss seriously about ISIS activity with, in the first place, with the new administration in Syria, but also with the other countries, as well as with the international coalition against the terrorists and against ISIS.
Right. Specifically in the east of Syria, we know that there's the Al-Hol camp controlled by the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces. There's an estimated 16,000 Iraqis there. What happens?
We already, in the last days, we brought many Iraqi families who were in the camp back to Iraq. And we are trying to get them all back to Iraq. And we have established a new camp in Iraq, so they will be there. But it is not only about Al-Hol. We have got 26 prisons under the control of Syrian Democratic Forces. And these prisons are the prisoners, they are all ISIS leaders and ISIS fighters. So we are talking about 10 to 12,000 prisoners. All of them, they are ISIS. So if those guys will be free, that means it will be a threat in the first place for Syrian people, but it will be also a threat for Iraq because they can easily cross the border in the future and start once again. And many of them, by the way, many of them, they are Iraqis.
So it's a time bomb.
It is.
So what would you like to see happen to them? You would like them to stay in prison under the control of this SDF or the central government in Syria?
No, I mean, that is, as for SDF and central government or the new administration in Damascus, I think they started already talking to each other. We hope that they will reach an agreement about all these issues. What's important for us is to keep those guys in prison.
I want to turn to Iraq. There's a lot of debate about the so-called pro-Iran militia, the Hashd al-Shaabi. You said recently that you would like them to lay down their arms and become part of really the national security apparatus. They are not agreeing to that. Iran has said they don't want this. Do you think it will happen?
This is, in the first place, an Iraqi issue.
It's also an Iranian issue.
There is a huge discussion among the Iraqi leaders and also among the leaders of Fasail. So we will see which direction are we going to choose. But one thing is important. It is a serious discussion, and there is serious discussion, a serious approach about how to deal with this issue.
What should happen? They should lay down their weapons in your eyes.
No, anyhow, we cannot have various groups, especially groups outside, functioning outside, let's say, the government. So it must be within the framework of the government and the framework of the armed forces.
But Iran has to agree to this, no?
I'm talking about Iraq. I'm not.
Yes, but you know their influence.
Iran is a different issue. Iran also has got many problems. So one must be busy with their own problems.
Do you think the U.S. or Israel could strike those militias because of what is happening in Gaza and what they've done previously? Or is this a big concern for the central government?
I don't think U.S. and I don't want. We have got a strategical agreement and dialogue with the U.S. We hope that they are not going to do that. And to be honest, I didn't hear that U.S. is planning to do that.
Speaking of the U.S., Donald Trump is back at the White House. According to the agreement, the U.S.-led coalition is supposed to finish its mission by September of 2026. Do you think this is a good thing, or would you like them to stay because of continuing tensions in the region, Syria, Iran, etc.?
No, the original discussion was about withdrawing in September and then finishing the job in September 26.
Is this still the schedule?
There is a new reality in Middle East. This is a fact. There is a new situation in the whole area. What happened in Lebanon, what is going on in Gaza, what happened in Syria, and also the tension and the threat of war around in the Middle East. So how are we going to deal with this? It is a question. But anyhow, there is an old understanding. I'm talking about understanding. And until now, nobody rejected that understanding.
Right,
but we will see. I think we will have further discussion with the American side.
But from
to know, because we don't know how the Americans are going to decide. Perhaps they will withdraw earlier.
But you would like them to stay. From what you said, you think, given the situation, it's better if they stay.
It is not about I like or not, but I know there is a
needed.
new situation in Middle East.
Trump issued an executive order on February 4th to impose maximum pressure on Iran, and this includes the end of a waiver that Iraq had to import Iranian gas for its electricity production. This is, of course, a big concern. Are you hoping that the U.S. will grant you this waiver, or do you think this is the end of it?
No, this is indeed a big problem. It will be also a big problem in summertime. But there is also another reality which has to do with the Iranians themselves. The Iranians, they stopped gas, and now they are not supplying us with gas. So not because of politics, but because of the fact that they themselves are in need for more gas and for their power station, for electricity. So we are facing a new dilemma, which has to do with finding gas for our power station, as it is well known that we are depending heavily on Iranian gas for about 35 to 40% of our electricity. So without Iranian gas, we must have a different way to find gas. So we are doing
Saudi Arabia. Maybe?
We are doing now. We are in contact with various countries, with many countries which are producing gases to purchase gases so that we can manage our electricity.
Fuad Hussein, I want to thank you very much for being our guest here on France 24, and thank you all for watching this show.